What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battle. Today I actually have two matches in which I'm showcasing the absolute power of the Z conversion Porygon-Z. So this is a pretty fun team that I threw together. I wanted to use a couple Pokemon that I hadn't really used yet or seen used, so I also decided to throw on Porygon-Z because I've been hearing a lot of good things about this thing going for the Z conversion, and it's pretty damn awesome. So my opponent is Matthew from Twitter, and he does have a couple of Pokemon that I'm kind of afraid of, including the Silvally, which I haven't really seen used yet, plus the Alolan Sandslash and the Primarina could put in work. But let's go ahead and just hop into the battle here. So I wasn't really sure what he was going to want to lead off with, and I just decided to toss out my Nihilego just to get the Stealth Rocks up early. So we send out Lily here, as he actually ends up leading off with the Toxapex, which really isn't that bad for me. He does have a super effective Scald against me, but honestly I'll be able to take those. Plus I just want to get my rocks up. So first turn I am going to go for the Stealth Rock, as he's actually just going to fire off a Scald at me, and I take that relatively nicely, and I actually don't get burned, so that's pretty badass. Anybody ever noticed that when Toxapex uses an attack, it totally looks like the monster from Stranger Things? I don't know, but I'm now going to switch out. I do have a perfectly good Vikavolt in the back of my team here, so I decided to switch this thing in. I know I can take a Scald really easily, plus I don't really care if I'm burned. And yeah, so this is a great matchup for me, but now looking at it, it's a really obvious switch for him into Mudsdale, fearing the Volt Switch or Thunderbolt. So predicting that, I'm just going to go for the Flash Cannon, and after the Stealth Rock, it's going to be a nice 2-hit KO because I am Choice Specs, and Vikavolt is actually a fucking threat when you throw some specs on this thing. It does so much damage. But yeah, so he's going to get hit with all of that, and he's going to actually get the stamina boost, which is fine because that just raises his physical defense. And luckily, I'm able to hit the second Flash Cannon in a row, which is going to take out the Mudsdale, which is really nice, and that means that Vikavolt is going to be pretty useful later on if I can end up saving this thing. I haven't lost too much health, and I'm relatively bulky, so I can kind of take attacks. But now he's going to go into the Silvally, and honestly, I don't know what to expect from this thing. I haven't battled against one, and I know that they have like so many different sets with all the types you can use. There's actually a ton of cool options to use with this thing with all the different memory plates or whatever, so he goes for the Protect as I switch, which is perfect by me because that just means I get a free switch into Muck here, as now he's just going to go for an Iron Head. And at the time, I went for knockoff, but then I realized that it's not going to knock off the item because it's like the Arceus type-ish thing. But I do actually get a critical hit and the Poison Touch, which is like hack central, but I'll take it. So at this point, I saw he was just going for the Iron Head, so I actually decided to go for the Curse. I figured the Poison wasn't going to be able to finish him off after I get a setup here, but he actually goes for the multi-attack, and he gets a crit right back at me, so kind of evens it out here, as I'm going to live that with 30 HP, and I'm going to get up a free Curse, although I don't have enough health to really be able to do a whole lot. But, I mean, honestly, my whole objective here was to be able to get Porygon-Z in safely to be able to see what I can do with that bad boy anyway. So that's fine. Honestly, I'm able to then actually just finish this thing off with a Shadow Sneak, as the poison doesn't even end up killing it. So at least after the Black Sludge, I'm at a decent amount of health, and I'm just going to leave Muck in because I'll be able to get a Shadow Sneak on kind of whatever he brings in, and I really want to just bring in Porygon at this point. So the main thing with Porygon is that you have to really bring it in safely to be able to set up, or else it doesn't really work that well. So he's now going to bring in his Sandslash, which is a good play because he is going to be able to outspeed me, and the only really thing I can do is go for the priority Shadow Sneak, which I do, and I am not going to be able to get the Poison Touch, obviously, because this thing's freaking Steel type. And he's going to finish me off with an Icicle Crash here. I was kind of glad that this thing didn't start setting up, but I guess it wouldn't have really mattered anyway. So an Icicle Crash is going to take out Play-Doh, but I did my damage with that dude. So at this point, I'm now going to be able to freely bring in Spookygon-Z. And this is a perfect time for me to bust out the Normalium Z power. And if you're unfamiliar with how conversion works normally, basically it changes you to the type that you have in the move of your first slot. So since I have Shadow Ball in front, it is going to change me to a Ghost type. And in addition to that, it also gives you a +1 stat boost in all of your stats. It actually doesn't display it here, but that is an effect to this move. So at this point, Spookygon's pretty much activated beast mode. I have a +1 in both of my attacks, both defenses, and speed. So I'm able to take that Icicle Crash very nicely, as now he's actually going to switch out into his Toxapex. I'm assuming he wanted this thing just for Death Fodder to be able to bring in a free switch in, because he realizes that I do still have Vikavolt, and Porygon-Z can really just tear this thing apart. So a Shadow Ball is going to be an easy 2-hit KO here, as he's going to get his leftovers, and then he's actually going to end up going for the Baneful Bunker just to pretty much waste a turn and eat some more leftovers. So Porygon's not actually going to end up making contact with those pointy-ass spiky things, so I'm not actually going to get poisoned, and that's cool. So the Shadow Ball's not going to go through, but unfortunately for this weird sea urchin thing, he's actually going to take a ball to the face and die next turn. So at this point, there's really nothing else he can do, and I actually do have Thunderbolt, but there was no reason for me to go for it. I saw that he does still have the Primarina, and I want to kind of make it seem like I actually don't have Thunderbolt, but I mean, there's really no reason for me to go for it anyway. So now he's actually going to bring out the Primarina, and at this point, I'm really just going to have to test out Porygon here to see if my Thunderbolt's going to be able to do enough. So I go for the T-Bolt, Porygon looking all angry, I like when he frowns. So I go for the Thunderbolt, he actually ends up living it with like 5 HP, and that allows him to get a Moonblast off on me, which unfortunately is going to lower my special attack, and Porygon's not too happy about that, although I did live it, so that's pretty cool. And he's actually going to kill himself with his Life Orb. So down goes the Primarina, that's a big threat. And at this point, Porygon, with his little amount of health, is going to have to do as much as he can. So he's now going to bring out the Sarina, and he's actually just going to be able to live an Ice Beam, unfortunately due to the fact that I got that special attack drop. But Porygon ripped a hole in this dude's team enough for the rest of my team to be able to pretty much clean it up. So a Drop Kick is going to take out Porygon, and that was just actually the first battle that I had used Porygon here. So I was pretty happy with how he performed. That special attack drop kind of sucks, but it's alright. So now I'm going to bring out Vikavolt. I know that I can take at least one attack from this thing, as he actually goes for the Play Rough, and I eat that shit up. And this allows me to just go for a Bug Buzz, which is going to kill the weird new grass type thing. I actually have not seen one of these things being used. I'm kind of interested to see if they're actually viable, but yeah, so now he brings back out the Sand Slash, gets hurt by a little bit of rocks, and at this point I don't really feel like switching out here because I don't really have anything to take an Ice Liquid Crash, so I just stay in, but I've done enough damage to his team to the point where I can just bring in my ugly ass fish to be able to finish off the match here. So out comes Fabulous, the ugliest fish in all of the land, and I'm actually just going to go for a Waterfall here. I kind of thought this was going to end up killing. I am Choice Banded, but this Sand Slash is pretty damn bulky, and it knocks him down to red to the point where he can just eat his Citrus Berry, but that's not going to save him here because he doesn't have anything that can one-hit KO me, as he just goes for the Iron Head just to get a little bit of damage, but I can take that, and one more Waterfall is going to be able to finish off the Sand Slash. So that is going to be the end of this first battle, and that was a pretty fun first little attempt with this team. So down goes the Sand Slash, even though you're looking badass. Sorry I had to do that to you, buddy. But so yeah, that's going to be the end of the first battle. Let's go ahead and hop into the next one where Porygon-Z is ready to tear some shit up. Alright, so this is a match against Rich from Twitter yet again, and looking at the team preview, it was looking pretty promising that Porygon was going to be able to put in the finest of work here. So the main threat that I'm worried about here is the Mega Metagross. I've come across a couple of those, and this team doesn't really enjoy Metagross a whole lot, but I'm going to have to definitely be careful with that thing, along with the Tapu Koko. That could cause some problems as well. This is really powerful, and this is really just going to test Porygon-Z's ability to see if I can get the right time to set up here. So my plan is just to lead off with the Nihilego again because the Stealth Rock is looking pretty helpful here. So he's actually going to end up leading off with his Pelipper, which was blessed with a special attack boost in this generation, and he has the ability Drizzle. So he's going to set up some rain. Pelipper just making it rain on these hoes. And Lily actually does have a decent matchup here. I can't go for the Power Gem. I am Focus Sash, so I'll be able to live really any attack he wants to go for, but he actually is going to switch directly out, and he's going to go into the Metagross straight away. And I was like, well, damn, I'm going to have to deal with this pretty early here. So I get up my Stealth Rock, and the Metagross is looking pretty damn pissed off at me, and Lily really does not have anything to do. My only attacking moves are Power Gem and Sludge Bomb. So I'm going to go ahead and take this turn to switch directly into my Bruxish here, as he's going to Mega Evolve as expected, but I know I can take at least one attack from this thing. So he's going to get all crazy looking, be all floating and stuff. So he does Mega Evolve, and at this point he is going to go for the Meteor Mash, and he actually does end up getting the Attack Raise on this first one, I believe, which I was like, damn, this is not good. So here's where shit gets even worse. So he does get the Attack Raise, and I totally misclick here and hit Waterfall instead of Aqua Jet, which is really bad because I would have loved to get just even the smallest amount of damage with the rain boosted Aqua Jet Choice Band Bruxish. It would have been real nice, but at this point I'm pretty damn screwed, and this is going to force me to bring in my Vikavolt here, who is actually able to live this Zen Headbutt. Check this out, with 1 HP. With the attack boost, Vikavolt, he's like, I'm not even going down to that shit, bro. Which allows me to get a Bug Buzz off, but it is not going to end up killing him, and he is just going to finish me off with a Bullet Punch. But at least I did not die to that. I would have been real bummed had Vikavolt died. But this is at least going to allow me to bring in my Muck here, who does have the priority, and I'll be able to finish this thing off with a Shadow Sneak. So with the Metagross gone, it's looking pretty promising for my boy Porygon-Z here to be able to sweep up some shit. So the Shadow Sneak is going to take that thing out, and it's definitely a relief to see that thing go down. I mean, Porygon could have taken it, but I just did not want to take any damage from a Meteor Mash because that would hurt. So now he's going to bring out the Araquanid, who's looking nice and shiny, and these things are badass as hell. So My plan here is to just go for the poison jab with Muck. I know he's going to be able to finish me off with the probably choice banded liquidation in the rain. That's definitely going to be able to take out Muck. That's just way too much power. That shit like OHKOs everything. But this is going to allow me a free switch into my Porygon here. So I don't really want to go for the conversion and setup just yet because I know this thing's really powerful and I want to conserve health as much as possible. So I just end up going straight for the Thunderbolt. It is going to knock out the Bubble Spider, so it's good to see that thing go. And now it's pretty much time to see if Porygon can put the team on his back. So he's now going to bring out the Roserade, and I know without a special attack boost, I'm probably not going to be able to take this thing out with an Ice Beam. Honestly, a lot of the time you do see these things a little bit invested in special defense, so I don't think I'll be able to take it out even with the attack boost, but I'm just going to go straight for the Z conversion as I'm expecting to be sleep powdered, but I'm feeling pretty confident with the defense boost. I should be able to take some attacks from this thing and end up waking up and then just going on a rampage. So I go for the conversion, go ahead and turn into a ghost type as he's going to go for the sleep powder and actually misses, which is quite unfortunate for him. I actually kind of felt bad there because that meant Porygon got all those stat boosts for free and all that fun stuff. But I'm now going to go for the Ice Beam, and this thing actually ends up living with a little bit of health there, and he's able to go for the Sleep Powder, which doesn't miss this time. And now Porygon is asleep. But it's okay because I'm not going to be asleep forever, and I'm still feeling confident that Spookygon's going to be able to put in some work. So the Roserade probably doesn't really have a whole lot to hit a Ghost-type Porygon with, so he's actually going to end up switching out here into something more fitting, and he goes into the Zygarde. I'm assuming that he wanted to start setting up some Dragon Dances. I'm not really all that sure, but all I know is I do have Ice Beam in the back pocket, so this Zygarde is going to take a beam to the face as soon as I wake up. So, seeing as he hard switched this thing in, I am actually going to be faster next turn, so he's going to get some leftovers, and on this next turn, I am actually going to end up waking up. Porygon took a nice long nap today, he wasn't that sleepy, so this allows me to get off an Ice Beam that is definitely going to kill the Zygarde, and now at this point, I have a Porygon with +1 in all stats and full health, so now it's time to just basically see what this thing can do. And now he's going to go into the Tapu Koko, going to take a little bit from the Stealth Rock, which is useful. Going to bring up the Electric Surge, which is not that bad for me because that is going to boost my Thunderbolt, so not too worried, as I'm just going to go for the Shadow Ball, get the stab move, it has the highest power. So I go for the Shadow Ball, and it actually does end up taking out the Tapu Koko. I didn't actually run any damage calcs or anything, but I did not expect that to kill, although I don't think he would have been able to one-hit KO me, but yeah, so now at this point, he's just going to bring in the Roserade to essentially die. He has 2 Pokemon left, the Shadow Ball is going to take out the Roserade, so see you later, Mr. Flower, with a critical hit. Totally useful crit right there. And yeah, so his last Pokemon is the Pelipper, and a Thunderbolt is going to be no fun for that thing, especially in the electric terrain. So he's going to get outsped here. He is actually going to bring up the rain, make it rain real quick in the electric terrain. Seems like a little bit sketchy, but that is going to be the end of the match there. So thank you guys for watching. I will probably have some more battles up with this Porygon-Z just because it's really fun to use. But I figured I wanted to just upload these 2 quick matches just to show you guys my real first impression of Porygon-Z conversion, and just to bring out awareness of the powerful-ass rubber ducky. So, thank you guys for watching, hit that like button if you enjoyed, and I will have some more Wi-Fi battles up soon, so if you haven't already, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you later. Peace out.